Ciao ragazzi, welcome to JSG podcast. Good morning, good evening, and greetings to all Bianconera families around the world. Welcome back to JSG podcast. Podcast channel is brought to you by Juventus Club of Singapore. For today's episode number 13, we have a new special guest in the house. So, what are we waiting for? Let the show begin. Okay, hello guys. Welcome back to JSG Podcast episode number 13. As for today, as you can see, I have a very special guest. If you can see what I'm wearing now, he is the man. He is the one who have lots of things like this that you can grab it on his, say, website. I would say Strippedhearts website. So don't forget to check it out. So without further ado, I would like to welcome you, Alberto, to our JSG podcast. Welcome, Alberto.
Thank you very much for having me, Iskander. It's been a long time waiting. I know when you reached out to me, I was very, very excited to come and join you on the podcast. I love that you're doing the podcast. It's fantastic. The shirt looks amazing on you. Thank you for the support. It's much, much appreciated. Strippedheartsapparel.com for anybody, any Juventini interested in gear. If you don't see a design you like and you want something custom, I'll do it. I'll make it for you. And the best part about it is that proceeds of every sale go to charity. So I have a rotating carousel of 3 charities, and proceeds of each one goes to them. So yeah, thanks again for having me, Scanner. It's great. And I will return the favor and have you on my podcast as well, all you Juvecast one day.
Yeah.
I can't wait. So
Yeah, okay. So as a tradition in lots of lot of podcasts, so JSG podcast it's have a tradition on its own way. It's like you will introduce a new viewers from the Asian region, maybe the international, who only knows you for the first time. So can you can share your experience, or maybe you can share the process or the steps when how does things start with you with Juventus? So
yeah, I was very, very young, and my family and we live in Canada. So it was the games, the matches when Juve plays are always at very, very odd times for us sometimes, especially back in the day. We could get 3 a.m. matches, 6 a.m. matches, usually in that area. And I remember as a kid, my dad would be in the living room and shouting and at crazy hours of the morning. And I'd walk out there and he was watching Juventus play. And, I started sitting there watching him. I started to like watching. And then I started getting up at these crazy hours and watching the games with my dad. And then, the 96 Champions League final happens, and I see my dad actually, kind of break down. He was so happy, his tears, and it was like, wow. I was like, holy smokes, I didn't think it was like to that level. But then that was right around the time of Del Piero, getting into the fold, and Del Piero really was the guy for me that spearheaded the level of fandom for me, and I just was all about Juve and Del Piero. And then, of course, the list goes on. Zidane, Davids, Torricelli, Ravanelli, Vialli, like all these guys. I loved the team. And then because of my dad, I started using them in video games. It became all Juve for me. That was it. Juventus. At the time, Serie A was the best league, hands down, to watch. So I actually just fell in love with the game and everything. Calcio, it was the best. You had all the teams were stacked. All the best players in the world wanted to play in Italy. It was a beautiful, beautiful time. And from there, never looked back. Always Juve. And suffered some many final defeats from that time on, but that's how you earn the stripes, I guess. Hey, you got to take that the good with the bad there. But it's been awesome, man.
So is it all your family members is Juventus fans, or there's other club that they?
Well, I have family, quite a bit of family in Italy still. So there's the majority of us are Juventini. I do have some cousins that support Napoli. I have one that supports Merda. Yeah, I don't talk to him much, and
he's not welcome to your house.
No, I love the banter with them, and but yeah, it's we also have an AC Milan supporter, so yeah, there's a good mix amongst the family, all there in Italy. But here in the city where I reside, my family here is all Juventini. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Great story. Thank you for sharing it with the viewers.
Absolutely.
So now let's get into the most how to say heated topics regarding about the how to say the players, how do they play the games that the flashback to the games against Atalanta. So it's you see that we drew with Atalanta 1-1. So is it a fair result, or is there like we should have won that game? If you don't say Atalanta, yes, now if you can see Atalanta is in their maybe the form that they have been shrinking a bit. So is it a fair result to draw Atalanta on that day?
So the funny thing about this match was Atalanta was going through a little bit of drama themselves with Papu Gomez.
Yeah.
So the Champions League match leading up to that, Papu Gomez and Gasperini got into a bit of a tiff, an argument. And Gasperini, it was rumored that he resigned on the spot. And the president and upper management wouldn't allow him to leave. And they said no to that. And then Gasperini essentially has been starting Papu Gomez from the bench, who is the captain. Yeah. He is the team captain. So it's very, very strange. So with that brewing behind the scenes with Atalanta, the way we were kind of playing, I was starting to kind of raise my hopes with Juve. I thought we would come out with a victory here. But Atalanta plays really, really strong football. They just play really, really good. They have the ability to plug in players. And it's something I've always spoken to Juve for many seasons now, where we tend to rely on individuals a lot more than have a solid, well-rounded system where we can take a player and put him in and we're still as strong. We don't have that. We really rely on certain individuals at the back and especially at the front. Those are the two main areas where we are heavily relying on certain guys. So to get a 1-1 draw with Atalanta is not the worst result. I think it's just, I think Juventini are really feeling the pressure of the amount of draws Juve is getting.
Yes.
And there was many matches earlier on we should have been winning.
Yes.
So to get a result 1-1, and when you watch this match, Atalanta could have easily beaten us. We could have scored much more. Ronaldo had missed a PK as well. It's a frustrating one, but I think a draw was more than fair in general in the grand scheme of things. But Atalanta's no slouch. They play us very, very hard. When Papu Gomez entered the match, it switched. Atalanta all of a sudden was on. We tend to have a bit better run of play prior to Gomez entering the pitch. And it's one of my constant criticisms of Pirlo is the timing of his substitutions usually is off. I feel like he's misreading the games by sometimes waiting too long to make changes, and sometimes who he changes.
Yes.
So that's one of my constant criticisms of Pirlo that I hope he can correct. And the other thing is, which I don't expect from him, because he's so early in his career. And I mean, he's literally coached nowhere, straight to Juve. But it doesn't have that adjustment factor, whatever people think of Allegri and how he finished whatnot, Allegri had the ability to change a match by realizing who he had that needed to enter the match. He was very, very good at that. And he could change it structurally with who he put out there to take advantage of a soft spot in the opponent. Sarri didn't have that, and Pirlo doesn't have it yet, but it's very, very early for Pirlo.
So after the games against Atalanta, so they move on to the games against Parma.
Yeah.
It changes. Or is it because Parma is not that strong like Atalanta, but we can see the system or the way the players play, everything is changed. It's due to what is because the formation, maybe the players that he choose. So what's your take on that?
This is the part that's the $1 million question right now, my friend. Is why do we do this? Why are we up here one match, down here the next, and then up here again? It's hard. A lot of fans want to put it on the players. You have to play this guy. That's what happens. We play good when it's this guy. Oh, you can't have that.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to it. Leadership. We talked about it. Certain guys calling the shots. The organization starting from the back. Buffon, all of a sudden you have a lot of fans saying Buffon needs to play more because he organized. You can hear him yelling the entire game. All these things weigh in. Players, I think Pirlo now is starting to see who needs to play where. And I think he knows that he needs to have three in the midfield, make it a more standard 3-5-2, and work that way. So I think he's gradually figuring it out. But why we're so up and down, I don't know. I don't know why it could be. And Parma is no slouch. They're a decent football club. And that game came so easy to us.
Yeah.
So extremely easy. But if you watch, the players kept it so simple. It was, our outsides were crossing the ball in quickly. Ronaldo and Morata were interchanging beautifully. Morata was coming out wide and coming in. Ronaldo would take the center forward position and they would interchange. Yeah. There was very, very nice passing sequences where we'd start out on the flank, cut in, pass it to a midfielder, he'd pass back to a defender. At that point, when they rotated up front, boom, we triggered 1v1s like that over and over and over, steady all game, and we were giving them problems. The Sandro goal was like that. Ronaldo header was like that. Because Sandro ended up getting 1v1, crossed it over Kulishevsky, which was awful defending by Parma, but nonetheless, it looked like we had ideas on how we were going to get to 1v1s into dangerous spots. And so that's why I say, like, it's very, very hard. Are they still working on some of these sequences, trying to figure out? The other thing is each opponent plays us differently and creates different issues. When we lose the battle on 50-50s in the midfield, we suffer terribly. And when we start to run out of ideas and get too loose in attack, it turns into an absolute mess, and we get countered repeatedly and whatnot. So we still have some structural issues that creep up. We have leadership issues that creep up, and we still have just some guys that haven't been performing to the way they need to be, which also adds to it. So you have a lot of factors as to why we're going up and down, in my opinion.
So does it shows that we are missing a playmaker in the squad?
Yeah, I mean, I still believe, and I usually gear towards thinking, the system. You have to work on the system. You have to find what works for all your players, get them comfortable and go in there. But it's hard not to look at this team and look at the players across the board in the middle of the park and say that we do not need a creative player in there. You can't do it, because even if the system were working great and we had everybody fully functioning, these guys aren't going to just all of a sudden develop this vision on the pitch. That's not something you just pick up, or gain. Like, some players have it, some players don't.
Yeah.
So we need a guy with that cutting edge vision that can sniff out this back post run, slip this through ball that carves a defense wide open. We don't have anybody of that caliber. Rabiot can't do it. Rabiot's great box to box, physical guy. I like him. Ramsey is creative, but he's a different kind of creative. He's a 1-2 quick movement creative, and it'll work, but it won't always work. And Ramsey's very, very injury prone, but Ramsey so far is the closest guy we have to it, but he doesn't have the extensive passing range of the guy we need, in my opinion. A guy that could turn nothing into a counterattack, with one quick pass. And a guy that in the top of the area, when we get there, isn't scared to have a shot, be a threat, or sniff out that pass and pull something out, right? We just don't have that. Bentancur has shown he can't do it. Arthur, I don't believe, is the guy. McKennie's great, well-rounded, but he's not a vision guy. He isn't. So I still say we're missing that set of abilities in the middle.
But if been given the opportunity to you to choose a player, who would you choose, or who would you buy if you are the director of the Juventus club?
I like Awar, I really do, but I still think he would play it to the same way as a Ramsey, because he really drives into the area and whatnot. I know a lot of Juventini don't like him, but I think DePaul could be a good shout at a good price. Locatelli is intriguing. Locatelli's up there for sure for me. All these guys are up there. Pogba's up there. Everybody knows I love Pogba when he was with Juve. I think he's a tremendous player. I think he has everything we need, to be honest. And I find it a little bit surprising how many Juventini don't want Pogba back, because I don't understand. I understand financially, the wages, all that, the fees and stuff, but I think we would be lying if we didn't think he easily walks into our midfield. Easily, he does. He has to. Who would keep Pogba out of the lineup in the middle of the park for Juve right now? Nobody. Nobody would stop him from making that first 11. Not in my opinion. So for me, it's higher up on the scale, but probably Pogba or Locatelli. One of those two.
But to get to, it's like what you say, to get Pogba, it means that there's a lot of money will be involved, this and that. Do we have that, or some of the players we need to sell to get someone? So maybe some of the fans doesn't want that, because to get a player you need to sacrifice lots of players in the squad. But as you can see now, some of the players that we have doesn't really play to expectation, but they are being paid a lot and lots and lots of millions of dollars. So what's the point of keeping them when we have the chance to sell?
Yeah. The player thing's really, really tough. It's a tough one because, look at the circumstances as well. We signed Dejan Kulishevsky for 40 million euros. He doesn't really have a spot on this team right now. He's been kind of, put in all these different places, and he hasn't really shone through like what everybody expected. And if we think about this, he signed from Parma, where he had a breakthrough season, but he was playing in a 4-3-3. So we were playing in a 4-3-3 under Allegri, under Sarri. We signed this kid. Now we switch systems completely. He's not really fully fitting in, the 4-3-3 last season, Dybala had a great season. He's looked off the mark for, I think, a number of reasons.
Yeah.
But Bernardeschi's on an upswing ever since that break with the Azzurri.
Yeah.
But now that he's playing decent, he's not getting any minutes. Is he possibly a guy that's going to move in January? I think so. Otherwise, why wouldn't he be getting the minutes? Because in my personal opinion, he's higher up than some of these guys that have been getting more minutes over him based on what he was playing like. So it's very, very interesting. Chiesa's been a great addition. I think against Fiorentina, unfortunately, I think he tried to do too much because it was his former club. So oftentimes he was overdoing it a bit when he should have just kept things a little simpler. But the player one's hard when you put a lot of expectations. The thing is that our players could go somewhere else and shine.
Yeah, it's true.
But the thing is, if they're not doing it for us, why hang on, right? I think you have to look at their term, the history, how long they've been with us, what we've gotten out of them, and where we are right now. Can we get more, or have we plateaued? So if you look at a guy like Bernardeschi, historically, he hasn't really done anything for us. Okay, a few good matches. As of right now, he's starting to play good, but do you really keep him based on what he's done historically for us? I don't really know. I think if you can get some value there, you do it. But in January, no, I wouldn't move Bernardeschi in January because he can play multiple roles. He's on an upswing. I think you keep him, and I think you play him out more. The big guy, Dybala. That's the one everybody's,
Yeah,
know.
a lot of every day you can hear a lot of.
It would break my heart to see him go. I absolutely love Paulo Dybala, but if the rumors are true, and I think there's a lot of back and forth. I don't blame just Paulo or just the club, both of them, because they've let this linger for so long. And it's bad for the club to have this hanging over their heads. They need to shut this down, and they need to do it fast. So whether Paulo's going to be a part of our future or he's not, the two of the parties need to figure this out and get it done immediately, because it's not good for the club to have this lingering around. But if you get rid of Dybala in January, okay, that means you no longer need to just bring in one forward. You need to bring in two. Because you already, right now with Dybala, we have no backup for Morata. Because the way Dybala plays, he doesn't play like a true number 9. So you still need to bring in a number 9. So if you're losing Paulo Dybala in a deal to bring in a midfielder, what are you going to do up front? You're going to be really behind the 8 ball. And just bringing in one guy doesn't necessarily work. So for that reason, I don't even think in January you move Paulo Dybala. And this is my problem with the whole contract scenario.
Yeah.
Because now Juve's really kind of screwed. This should have been sorted out in this offseason. They should have figured it out. He's either part of this club, we're going to extend the contract, or you're not part of the club, we're getting rid of you now, we're going to pull a swap deal. And the reason is because if they don't move him in January and they don't want to renew his contract, and they do, that means come the crucial part of the season, this guy's going to have this looming over his head and not be able to focus, and who knows where he's going to be. And we're going to need him. So I really blame both parties for not dealing with this properly and having it shut down. Very bad scenario.
Because right now it's like we have numbers of skillful players in the squad, but what I see the problem is they have been putting in a position that they are not used to. It's like Pirlo is still experimenting a lot of formation for these guys, but till when? As you can see now, a lot of other clubs already been leading way up. Like Milan already 10 points beyond us. So why can't we have the best 11 squad daily to play? So for example, you must have to fix the formation well. So players would know. For example, now I'm a player. Today I will be partnering this guy. So we have been playing well. We playing good. But the next game, he's been replaced with other players. So where is that bond? That's what I see. So what's your take about it?
Yeah. So basically, yeah, your thoughts are the amount of rotation is hurting the chemistry.
Yeah.
And hindering the chemistry. And I agree. I agree that the rotation, and especially very early in the season, there was far too much tinkering from Pirlo. Far too much. We had come off a really strong match. I think it was against Cagliari, where we had a really strong match. The following match was a Champions League match, and I said, leave the exact same 11 in. Let them just play again. Maybe make 1 or 2 changes,
Yeah.
but let the rest of the guys play to get this rhythm, get the momentum going. I think Pirlo changed 5 players, half the lineup. And the reason I felt that way is that he should do it was, again, for the chemistry, for the momentum, and just get that continuity going and just shift a couple guys every so often to still give some guys breaks here and there.
Yeah. True.
But continue in the right direction. The problem is they're playing a very congested schedule.
Yes.
And I totally understand wanting to rotate players. The problem we have is that when he's rotating, sometimes he's done things that we can see won't work. And this is where I have a problem. So if you want to give a guy a break, you have to make sure it makes sense on the pitch with your 11. When you're taking Weston McKennie and you're putting him as an outside midfielder.
Yeah.
I said it right at the start of the game when I saw the lineup. That's not going to work. It won't work. And it didn't. He was invisible. He ended up running around like a chicken with his head cut off, and he wasn't in the game. But he spent so much energy, and he was completely out of the game because of where Pirlo had him positioned. The other thing is, we know that Adrian Rabiot and Rodrigo Bentancur cannot play together in that middle. It does not work. They're too similar. 2 very similar players. We also know that we were getting for a while earlier on in the season. Every time Dybala was out, Kulishevsky was out, and they played on the same side, and it was very, very awkward. The 2 of them tried to play the exact same role of being this link from middle to forward. All they did was get in each other's way.
Yeah.
And we saw that a handful of times from Pirlo. I need him to learn and see that much quicker. So if you're going to have Kulishevsky and Dybala out there, move Kulishevsky to the left, keep the ball on the right, make sure it has some type of flow to it, some type of rhythm, right? Cuadrado, Kulishevsky, and Dybala made a mess of the matches when they were all together because they were all in the same spot. And I was like, it was terrible to watch. And we would go out at halftime, and I'm thinking Pirlo had to have seen that, swap it up, change it up. Nope, same thing. So I really, really get frustrated when I understand the rotation. I agree with you. I'd like to see a little more continuity for chemistry reasons, but when you do make the changes, it has to make sense. Has to make sense. So Pirlo's got to step it up. His part of the game, he's got to step it up. That's my opinion anyways, is he's got to do a bit better job. Whether he's a rookie or not, these are things you don't need to study the game or be a master of to see.
Yes.
So, yeah, hopefully he can get things right here in a hurry.
Yes. He have to. He can't wait anymore. He can do like experiment again and again and again, non-stop. But we need that. Okay, now, did you see the difference between the squad playing in Serie A and the squad playing in the Champions League? It's because we are surprised to see that we can play a good match against Barca, but we didn't play well against team in Serie A. It really doesn't, how to say, the consistent is not there. We can't believe why you play good against Barca, but it didn't happen against a low team in Serie A. What's your take on that?
So, and this is why I just, again, I think it's hard to pinpoint, and I think there's so many contributing factors as to why we just can't get the consistency where it needs to be. But, you know, Barca, I think it was the fact that, you know, we can take the top spot in this group. You know, it's a very easy game to get motivated for because it's like it's a measuring stick for you. The other thing was now they're walking into this game with Gigi Buffon in goal, you know?
Yeah.
So a lot of fans were shocked. A lot of fans were saying, wow, we're going to play Gigi at 42 years old in Camp Nou when we need a win to top the group. And shame on anybody doubting
Yes.
the GOAT goalkeeper. Gigi Buffon, he led from the back. He made save after save that was those were gut wrenchers for Barcelona because he got down quick, he made great saves, and he was commanding from the back. The other thing was we played a 3-man midfield where Ramsey started from level with the other midfielders and moved forward. It was very, very fluid from us in the style we played. We definitely didn't shy away. We wanted the ball. We got the ball back when we needed it. We were able to weather any storms Barca came at us with because we were organized. Why were we organized? Because of Buffon, without a doubt. Giving the orders, giving the direction, which was much needed because we have a lot of newcomers to the team and a very young team. So you need that. You absolutely need that. And Bonucci, he doesn't do it. Szczesny, he doesn't do it. Chiellini will do it. Chiellini just can't stay fit. So having Buffon back there makes a huge difference. Now all of a sudden you got Ronaldo up at the very top calling shots, and you got Buffon at the very back calling shots. In my opinion, the next part of the spine going up the field should be De Ligt. It's a little early for him to really grab the reins, so to speak, but I think he'll do it naturally. And then the question mark becomes, who's the guy in the middle? Who's the guy in the middle that grabs the game by the scruff of the neck that says, I'm the guy here in the middle of the park. I'm going to call the shots with these other guys. I don't see anybody in there that does that. You know, I really, really don't. So if Bonucci's not doing it from the back and Szczesny's not doing it when he's in there, we suffer a lot with the leadership side of things if certain guys aren't in there. Can we play Gigi Buffon every single game this season? No. He's 42 years old. We have to be honest with ourselves. It would be very, very demanding.
Yeah.
Do I think he should get more minutes? Yes. Yes, I do. Am I confident with Gigi Buffon against anybody we play? Yes. Yes, I am. I think, you know, when we look at this team and we want consistency, I said it many times, I think I'm okay if the team loses. But we cannot go into a match and have zero fight and look so poor, so disjointed and unorganized. And we can't, like for me, the biggest thing I see out of this team is maintaining the standard. Okay, say this is where we need to be. The effort level needs to be here all the time. And if it's not at this level, you're coming off, and I'm going to make changes. So when we watch the Fiorentina match, I can't understand how Bonucci takes the field. Well, I do understand how he takes the field again, but he was so bad at the start of that whole match. He was so bad, but the errors, error after error after error, even before, because Cuadrado got sent off very early for, in my opinion, something that is inexcusable. In the final third of the pitch, to take a red card like that and put us under, from 17th minute is completely unacceptable from Juan Cuadrado. In my opinion, and a lot of Juventini have been saying Chiesa should be on the right side. A lot of shouts coming now for Chiesa. Chiesa plays much better on the right side than he does the left. Cuadrado will have these assists that keep him very high up on many Juventini's list because of the assists he gives you and the fight he gives you. I get it. But the problem is far too many errors. Way too many errors. You have to weigh out the pros and cons with Cuadrado. He makes so many errors, right? Is it worth it to keep him out there or go another route with Chiesa? Would Chiesa give us the same amount of assists had he got the amount of minutes that Cuadrado has? I don't know. Maybe he gives you more goals too. Maybe he does even more to. We don't know because we haven't seen enough of it.
With the squad right now that we have, what is the best formation to play?
I don't mind
because Pirlo is trying a lot of formation. They were trying 3-5-2, 3-4-3, 4-4-2, but the squad you have, it doesn't fit well with that formation. You need to change. I would say we have to see what is the best formation for the squad right now with the players that we have.
Pirlo's system has, for the most part, been this 3-4-1-2 or 3-5-2. Defensively, it goes to a 4-4-2. Is it the best? To be honest with you, if I look at the players we have, it should be. It should be the best for the guys we have. Because if we go 4-3-3, we're going to sacrifice the wing backs, the fullbacks getting as involved. Okay. Then you have a 3-man midfield. So you probably have one holder, a couple Metsalas going forward. Then you have 3 forwards, your center forward and 2 wingers. So that'll leave Morata and Ronaldo as locks. So then you've taken a guy, you've made him a right winger, and you've got 3 midfielders and then a standard 4 back. So the thing is here, if we do this, you're running a 2 center back system. Bonucci is even worse in a 2 center back system. So the fact is, I think there's a lot of uncertainty with Demiral. He had 2 quick injuries. So we got to wait to see how he's going to do. De Ligt is fine. Danilo's filled in great as center back. The midfield, I think our guys need the support. For the midfield we have, I think they need the support of 3 center backs and the wing backs there. I think we need it. Otherwise, I think these guys are going to get stretched out. I think we'll leave ourselves vulnerable. The problem is, I think it's too late. I think it's too late to switch now, and we're coming into a crucial part of the season. The other thing is too, formation-wise or not, when it's been good for Pirlo, it's looked really, really good, So I really just think it comes down to a few guys that he needs to really decide what's going to happen with, positionally, structurally. In the middle of the park, it still needs to make sense. There's a couple, I just don't see that guy in the middle that's going to be that game breaker. McKennie's great all around. His work ethic, it's great. Ramsey can do it, but he doesn't always do it when he's out there, So it's a bit of a consistency thing too. I've been saying it for a bit now since Bernardeschi has been back playing at a better level since that Azzurri break. try him in the middle in this formation.
Or is
Try
it
him as one of
because-
those guys.
Or is it because the position that was being chosen for them doesn't suit them well, so that's why they can't perform?
Yeah, I mean, but if you look at this, the guys that are performing well are the ones that you would have least expected. Like Danilo as one of the center backs, I would have thought is a failure right from the guy. I remember laughing when I heard about it, that he was going to be playing. I said, there's no way he's going to play as a center back. He's been doing great. Chiesa as a wing back, I thought, no way. Like, I'd be surprised. Like, he's just a up forward winger. Let him go. He's been doing great, especially on the right side in comparison. In the middle of the park, can we really say that any of the guys haven't done well? I mean, they've had bad matches, but I think if we look at how much of it was individual and how much of it was the combination of players that were in there, right? And the matches where we had two-man pivots,
Yeah.
those were the bad ones. And I think you have to lay it as a flat three midfield in there with a rotation, a fluid rotation of who attacks while the others cover, right? I think it's more of the combination in the middle of the park. And I think it's the key for this team. Because up front, I have a lot of confidence in Morata and Ronaldo. On the outsides, I'm fine with Chiesa or Cuadrado or Alexandro, At the back, even with his blunders at times, I'm confident in De Ligt, Bonucci, and Danilo. Where we continue to question is what are we going to get in the middle of the park? The games that we've done great at, we controlled and won 50-50s. If you look at that Atalanta match at the draw, I think it was around 60th minute, huge drop-off, and we started getting outworked. And we weren't battling for the 50-50s, and we weren't going to basically want to die to get that ball.
Yes.
We didn't have that fight. And against Fiorentina, very, very soft. Way too soft. So I honestly still think the combination in the middle, and if people want to say that it's a certain player that's going to help it, I think the traits would help, but it still has to come together as a unit in there, right? So it's very, very difficult.
So, as you can see, the next fixtures in January will be very, very tough fixtures for. Do you think that we're gonna be up there or still inconsistent the way we play?
So I don't really know, just like we've been talking now, which Juve is going to show up, if we can get a consistent amount of effort at a good, solid standard, I mean, we can do this. January 3rd will be against Udinese.
Yeah.
This should be a match that Juve wins. Udinese's 12th in the table. We should win this match. We're coming off the break. Guys should be fit. Should be ready to go. That should be a win. Then it gets interesting because 3 days later, midweek, is the big matchup against Milan. So Milan, of course, sitting top of the table.
Yes.
And we also know that we've got Merda in January. We have Sassuolo right after AC Milan. Then you have Genoa 3 days later. Then you got Merda 4 days later.
Yes.
So that part's congested. I believe the Napoli match is slated for January as well. They might have moved it to February. But we're going to have to play them too.
Yes.
I honestly think between Milan, Sassuolo, and Merda, you have to get, and even the Napoli game,
Yeah.
you have to get 3 wins out of those 4 matches for sure. For sure. People have to remember that because we're 10 points down and they're looking at it as 10 points down in the table, Milan at 34 points, Juve at 24, we have a match in hand as well. And that's why I say, like, out of those teams, the Sassuolo, Merda, AC, and Napoli, you can only afford to drop points in one of those, I think, because out of those clubs, somebody's going to drop points as well.
Yeah.
But the fact that you have to play them all in and around a month leaves no room for error pretty much, especially in those other games. So honestly, I don't know why Juve is going to show up, but they better be prepared because they've got 7 fixtures as it stands in January, which is crazy. That's a lot, but they have 7 fixtures, and there's going to be heavy rotation, and every guy is going to have to do their job. And Pirlo's going to have to step it up too, because these games where he's given players far too much of a leash, they can't happen. If a guy's not cutting it, he's going to have to act and be proactive and swing the tide for us, right? He's got to be better from his point of view. How do I think Juve is going to do?
Yeah.
Well, we just spent how much time talking about the consistency. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be really, really tough. I think we're really going to suffer from the matches that we drew earlier on in the season, that we weren't able to get those W's. It's left us with an almost, error-free January that we have to run. Merda has no other competitions to worry about. They will go with a full press and a full assault on Syria, 150%. Milan has surprised me because I've been waiting for this drop off, but they just keep finding ways. But they're allowing goals. They're letting goals in. It's just they're scoring. They're finding ways to win, whether it's late in matches, whatever. They're finding ways. That's a dangerous team. It's a dangerous team. AC Milan's dangerous right now. Sassuolo will not be.
Now Milan have that big confidence in them to go all the way. It's not like.
Yeah, I mean, and that's half the battle. Half the battle is just believing, and I don't know why we are so fragile mentally, it feels like. I don't think I've ever seen a Juve that feels so mentally weak, After the match against Fiorentina, Cristiano Ronaldo puts a big post on Instagram. Buffon puts a big post on Instagram. Bonucci, and they keep talking about, it needs to be better. Everybody deserves better. We know what we're capable of. We need to reach these standards. That's great, and I can appreciate that. But the fact that we've had to say that multiple times already and we haven't hit January is concerning. Why do we need the same message to be said over and over and over? These guys need to pick it up. I don't know what Juve team is going to show up in January. I just hope they're ready to fight. Yeah. And I hope that if we go down, it's not easy. But I will say this. If there's one thing we have going for us, it's the fact that all these other clubs have to play us. So it is in our hands. whether we're 10 points behind or not, we still have to play all those teams twice. Merda, AC, Napoli. So let's let them have to knock us off our throne, okay? And I said it last season when they were all putting pressure on us. I want to see what they can do, like, against us. I don't care if they smash Benevento. I don't care if a team does this. I want to see them actually take us out. So it'll be interesting to see. And that's the one positive we have out of it, is that they all still have to beat us. So,
but now I see the situation right now. There's no difference between away and home. There's no, how to say, no.
yeah, there is no home field advantage.
Yeah, hopefully things change to a better. Then the plan, it's everything is on the right path for Pirlo. So do you see any possibility that Ronaldo going to be benched for some of the games? Because he also can't play every week, every time. Is there any, because what we see,
I think
Morata
Ronaldo
and Dybala doesn't really play well together.
I think we haven't seen too much of them together, because usually Dybala will sub Morata in order to get on the pitch. There's only been a couple instances where we saw Dybala, Morata, and Ronaldo all together, and not enough to really pass judgment on either. So I don't know. Maybe Dybala just doesn't have what it would take defensively to make it work, because the only way you can get him in this system is if he slides in as one of those midfielders that's more advanced. The problem is, in this setup, it doesn't work whatsoever, because he would not be able to fulfill the defensive needs that would be required. So
you see the partnership between Morata and Chiesa will work if there's no Ronaldo in the team?
would Morata and Chiesa work up top?
Yeah, up front for the two.
I think Chiesa needs a little more space ahead of him. I don't know how Chiesa would do being. Yeah, I don't know. I like him in isolated 1v1s out on the side with a little more space. I haven't seen enough of him in congested areas to see how technical he can be in close and in tight like that. I'd have to see it. I think it would be a question mark between Chiesa and Kulishevsky. Who else could work up top there with Morata? I think Dybala could work up there with Morata personally. And Ronaldo will not be able to play all the matches. There's no way. I mean, he could, but would it be worth it? No. He's going to have to take some breathers in there, because we are going to get to Champions League in February.
Yes.
And we got Porto in the first round, and we're going to need him for Champions League to be full go. So, yeah, whatever happens, Serie A, whatnot, at least put a full assault in on Champions League and go for broke, right? So, yeah, he would be resting up for sure in certain matches. But it's tough to say too, because hopefully, if they can do things right and kill some matches, maybe you can give them some rest by taking them off earlier or whatnot, if we can get to some matches and kill them. But against all those rivals, you're going to want him in there, right? So part of the race, it'll be hard too. Which games can we sacrifice him for? Maybe he doesn't play against Udinese out of the break. I doubt it. I probably would anticipate him playing Udinese and playing Milan, which is 2 games in 3 days. So it's going to be tough to manage, but I think you have to. If we want the best Ronaldo in Champions League, which we do, I think you have to rest him. So
it's been, how to say that, it's a deserved break for all Juventini as for now. Yeah. It's because we have a very tough, very, how to say, inconsistent of playing. Then some of the Juventus would feel much more hated because of the formation, because of the players not giving everything they need. So we hope that this break, this Christmas break, will ease us a bit to calm things down and look forward for the games against Udinese. So last but not least, the prediction. What is the prediction for the games against Udinese?
Against Udinese. Well, they had a lot of time to do some soul searching, would you say? And the embarrassment that took place against Fiorentina, the players making their messages and whatnot, Pirlo under some scrutiny as well. I expect 3 points. I expect a solid performance. I think because we play AC Milan 3 days later, Buffon will play against Udinese. And I think Buffon, again, will get the organization going. And I think you'll see a solid team. And I think you'll see guys that want to get the job done, kill it, and let AC Milan know what's going to come for them 3 days later.
Will you
And I
put
hope
the
that
youth squad against Udinese or prepared the experienced players to be up there to play against Milan?
I think it depends on what happens with the guys we're waiting to get healthy. Chiellini and Demiral for sure. So if Chiellini's fit, I play him against Udinese. I play Chiellini and De Ligt and Danilo at the back. I put Chiesa on the right ahead of Danilo. I put Alexandro on the left ahead of Chiellini. In the middle, I put McKennie, Arthur, Ramsey. And up top, Morata. I don't know if I play. Yeah, Ronaldo. I'd play him even against Udinese. I'd probably prepare him, say, hey, I hope to get you out around 60,
Yeah.
So get your goals in quick and early so I can take you off because against Milan, I want you to kill them. I think that's the lineup I go with if Chiellini's fit. And we got to think Cuadrado's going to serve a ban. So he got one for the red card, plus he got a one-match ban. So he's not available for Udinese or Milan. So that's my lineup. That's what I would do. And I would expect them to win 2 or 3-0, to be honest, with that squad. Maybe Udinese finds 1 goal, but I think Juve will get the job done. AC Milan, that will be another story. That will be a tough test.
True.
Yeah.
So it's been a very enjoying discussion with you, Alberto. Thank you for your time. Thank you for make time to appear in our JSG podcast. And hopefully one fine day that we're gonna meet in Turin, maybe in Canada, and in any part of the world. So as we already said, a wish that we can do it live together in the podcast. So, but before we end this podcast, I would like to thanks to all subscribers and viewers for the channel, and don't forget to subscribe on Juve podcast channel and check out the Strippedhearts merchandise. To get your merchandise, there are lots and lot of design that you can choose. So once again, before we end this podcast, anything last word from you to say for all the viewers out there?
Oh, just Thank you, all Juventini, for the support I've received so far. The podcast, at all Juvecast, YouTube channel, all Juvecast. You'll find my podcast, my videos, Buonasera Bianconeri episodes. We've got a live coming up tomorrow at noon Pacific Standard Time. Just doing a lot of fun stuff, changing the game. We're going to get ready for what I'm going to call the Kill 'Em All tour starting January for Juventus. In the words of Metallica,
Yes.
Kill 'Em All. It's us against everybody. Everybody wants to see us dethrone Juventini. We have to band together, get behind the boys, and see what we can do. Strippedheartsapparel.com, of course, for any merch that you guys want to reach out and get for sure. But thank you, big thank you for allowing me to come on this podcast and chat with you. It's been an absolute pleasure. I will repay the favor, and we will definitely have you on the All Juvecast. And keep doing what you're doing. It's fantastic. Just keep up the great work, and get your popcorn ready, Juventini, because January is going to be a wild, wild ride. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Ciao from us. Ciao from me. And Buona Natale and happy holidays to all Juventini out there. Ciao, ciao. Ciao ragazzi.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Buon Natale.